the second time in as many games, we have a new returning champion in Matt Brooks, who came up with the correct response in final yesterday and pulled off a come-from-behind win. Today, Matt's joined by new challengers Chris and Kelly.
Take on Chris and Kelly this game.
Here are the categories in play for you three in the Jeopardy round. First off, we are describing the landmark. Then we have sports, miscellany, some scrambled flags, followed by leisure timing, and finally, the literary character who said, Matt, start us off.
Landmark for 800.
Answer there.
Oh, the daily double.
You can see the scores, Matt. We have a three-way tie at the moment. You can wager up to 1,000.
I'm gonna bet 1,000. Make it true to the double.
So $1,000. You want
Say
to bet
$1,000.
Here's your clue in describing the landmark. Some people just lying around. Clement Attlee, Lord Kelvin, and the very real Sir Peter Parker.
Who's Spider-Man? Who's Spider-Man? Who's Spider-Man?
Is the Chrysler
Was the Chrysler
Sorry,
building?
no. Those folks are all buried in Westminster Abbey.
Westminster Abbey.
Describing the landmark for 1,000.
The non-golden arch.
No.
Sounds like
With
victory.
Landmark for
Let's talk about Charles
1,000.
de Gaulle's Place. Kelly.
What is the Arc de Triomphe?
Right.
Landmark for 600.
Falsely named, as it's 3,000 by 1,650 feet. The eyes of the world looked on in 1989. Mao's still nearby. Chris.
What is the Tiananmen Square?
That's right. Not a square, it turns out.
Sports for 800.
Louisville, Kentucky is the site of this horse racing track that's home to a prestigious annual event the first Saturday in May. Kelly.
What is Churchill Downs?
Yes, Kentucky Derby.
Sports for 600.
Here's Phil Simms.
In 1987, with the Giants, I led the second New York team to win the Super Bowl. Though I admit I didn't quite have the flair of this QB for the first one, who took the Jets all the way.
Chris.
Who is Joe Namath?
Yes, it is.
Let's go to sports for 1,000.
Between the 1966 to 67 and 1974 to 75 seasons, this head coach lost a grand total of 12 games. Chris.
Who is John Wooden?
Right.
Let's go sports for 400.
The heaviest of the three weapons used in fencing is this one that means sword in French. Chris.
What's saber?
No.
Wrong.
What's rapier?
Was
Also
rapier?
incorrect. Kelly's gonna try it.
What is Epi?
It is FA, yes.
Landmark for 400.
8 total eyes, each about 11 feet wide. 4 noses, with one in particular about 21 feet. Midwest history. Matt.
Was Mount Rushmore?
You're right.
Let's go with
Scrambled flags with 800.
Botanical national emblem since 1965. Female pal. That's an anagram for
Maple leaf. Okay.
Scramble flags for
Scrambled
1,000.
flags for 1,000.
It was established as a national flag in 1794 by the law of 27 pluvios. Royal ROTC. Chris.
What's the tricolor?
Of France, right.
Alright, let's finish off sports for 200.
Called simply the boat race, a rowing contest between these two British schools has been contested since 1829. Matt.
Well, Cambridge and Oxford. Leisure
Leisure
dates put timing for
Early in the history
800.
of this game, the object hit back and forth was a small cork hemisphere with goose feathers attached. Matt.
Was badminton?
Yeah.
Leisure dates with timing for 1,000.
Special patterns called methods are used by campanologists, practitioners of this musical skill. Chris.
What is yodeling?
Sorry, no.
Wrong.
Kelly? What is bell ringing?
Bell ringing.
Back to you, Matt.
Okay.
A literary character.
Literary character for 800.
Oh master, oh master. Oh yonder there. 1, 2, 3 canoes. 1, 2, 3. Speaking to Robinson Crusoe.
Robinson
Friday.
Crusoe.
Back to you,
Okay.
Literary character.
Literary
6.
character for 600.
God bless us everyone, said while holding Bob Cratchit's hand. Chris.
Who is Tiny Tim?
Tiny Tim is right. You pull into the lead.
Take the
but
first
we have to
commercial
pause for a
break.
moment. Put down your signaling device. The lead and control. Let's pick up our signaling devices and get back into the game.
Alright, let's finish out describing the landmark.
Describe it.
for 200.
Yep.
Grass on the field, ivy on the walls. Visitor Babe Ruth called his shot in its friendly confines, worth its weight in diamond. Chris.
What is Wrigley Field?
Yes.
Scramble flags for 600.
It now includes a total of 63 of them. Traps, snide, czars. Chris.
Oh no. What's the Stars and Stripes?
Yes.
Alright. Let's go to leisure timing for 600.
In April 1982, this movie star premiered her home video Workout, the first of many best-selling tapes. Chris.
Who is Jane Fonda?
Yes.
Miscellany for 600.
For 60 years, a red figure and a blue figure have been duking it out in a miniature boxing ring in this action game. Matt.
With socket robots. Miscellany for 800.
Chiromancy is another name for this hands-on form of fortune telling. Kelly.
What is palm reading?
Right.
Miscellany for 1,000.
With songs like I'm Not Wearing Underwear Today, this spoof of Sesame Street won the 2000
With Almo.
Kelly.
What is Avenue Q?
Right again.
Miscellany for 400.
This row of very bright illumination along the front edge of a stage is also a term for the theater as a profession.
With Universal.
Chris?
With her floodlights?
No, I'm sorry.
Run.
Close, Chris, but those are the footlights.
Footlights. Okay.
Miscellany for 200.
The Cuisinart WMR Cap 2 is one of these devices, composed of two hinged metal griddles that close together to cook batter. Matt.
With a waffle iron.
Here's a waffle iron.
Louis Kilter for 1,000.
For 1,000.
To himself. Farewell, Lara, until we meet in the next world. Farewell, my love. Chris.
Who is Dr. Chicago?
Good for 1,000.
Let's go back to Scramble Flags for 400.
It rules the waves. Icona junk. Matt.
What's
What's
Britannia?
Britannia?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Chris or Kelly? Chris.
Oh, no. Sorry.
Out of time. Kelly.
And he
What's
doesn't
Union
know.
Yes, Union Jack. You had time to figure that out. Make a selection.
Literary character for 400.
You shall have your justice. Someday, and that day may never come, I will call upon you to do me a service in return. Chris.
Who is Vito Corleone?
Yes.
Let's finish off literary character for 200.
As for the scarlet letter, I wear it for the sake of its gold thread. Chris.
Who is Hester Prynne?
Yes.
Let's finish off flags for 2.
Yo ho ho. Gel or gory? Chris.
What's the Jolly Roger?
Right.
Leisure Timing for 4.
The name of this outdoor activity is an acronym that stands in part for breathing apparatus. Matt.
What's
With
Scuba?
Scuba.
Correct. And the last clue in leisure timing? These 3 colors are represented with slots on a standard roulette wheel. Chris.
What is red, green, and black?
That's all 3 of them. You maintain your lead at the end
And
of
I
every
get to
round.
start first
Champs
in
in third
Double
will select first.
Jeopardy.
Both our challengers have started strong, and the champ is looking to make up some ground now in Double Jeopardy. Here are your categories, players. We begin with biblical proportions. Then I'm asking, what do you stand for? We have elementary, 5-letter X words,
Exclamation marks.
followed by that's old news, and the Supreme Court connection. Matt, start the round for us.
Supreme Court for 16.
Supreme Court for 1600.
Conservatoire literaire in 1819, and a 19th century novel narrated by the title horse. Blank, Hugo, Black, blank. Kelly.
What is the Victor Hugo Black Beauty?
That's correct. That's how these are going to work.
5-letter X words for 1600.
A spiral form. Watson and Crick said, make ours a double. Chris.
What's a helix?
Yes.
Let's go to, what do you stand for 1200?
IP can refer to intellectual property or this baseball stat. Kelly.
What is innings pitched?
Right.
What do you stand for 800?
An EFT is a newt, but EFT is short for this type of monetary transfer. Matt.
What is electronic?
What's the electronic funds transfer?
What do you stand
What's there for
16?
1600?
Here's a peek at Swede Christer Fuglesang doing a little spacewalk for the ESA, short for this organization. Matt.
What's the European Space Organization?
No.
What's the European Space Agency?
Yeah, A for agency.
X words for 1200.
Hoovering is a manipulative tactic that sucks people back into this type of poisonous relationship. Chris.
What's toxic?
Yes.
Let's go back to what do you stand for 2000?
To a nutritionist, MD can mean this condition signaled by tremors and apathy. So eat seeds to keep your levels up. Matt.
What's muscular stuff? I stood
Sorry,
for
no.
feet.
Chris or Kelly? MD can also be magnesium,
Magnesium deficiency.
Chris, select.
Let's
Okay.
finish out, what do you stand for 400?
In the workplace, PTO can stand for this, like a vacation day. Kelly.
What is paid time off?
Right.
X words for 2,000.
It transports water and minerals from the roots of the plant up to the leaves. That one starts with the X. What is xylem?
Xylem.
That's
Okay.
old news for 1,200.
From about 400 to 800 AD, 16 kings ruled from this empire city of Copan in Central America. Chris?
What is the Maya?
Yes.
Old news for 1600.
In 218 BC, Hannibal crossed the Alps with tens of thousands of infantry and cavalry during the second of these wars. Chris?
What's the Punic Wars?
Right.
Old news for 2000.
Shown here with a ram's head, this deity combined the names of a creator god and the sun god. Kelly?
What is Amun-Ra?
That's right, for 2000.
The Supreme Court connection for 1,200.
Shark Tank vet / creator of FUBU, and Tonight Show host starting in 1992, Blank John J. Blank. That would be
Damon John J. Leno.
Back to you, Kelly.
Biblical proportions for 400.
Noah is told in no uncertain terms that the length of the ark shall be 300 these. Kelly?
What are cubits?
Yes.
Biblical proportions for 800.
In a whale of a tale, he arose and went unto Nineveh, an exceeding great city of 3 days' journey. Chris?
Who is Jonah?
Right.
Let's go to elementary for 1200.
In the human body, this violet-colored halogen is found in thyroxine, a compound produced by the thyroid. That's iodine.
Iodine. Okay.
Elementary for 1600.
Answer there?
Yes, there's one of the 2 daily double.
And look at this game, Chris. You're just $200 off the lead.
2000.
Here's your
2000.
clue.
Yes, we're
Elementary.
correct. Here's the clue.
Hennig Bront became the first known discoverer of an element when, in 1669, he found this, meaning light bearer.
What is nitrogen?
No.
First element discovered in modern times was phosphorus.
Phosphorus.
All right, you
Okay.
2000, make a selection.
Let's go to biblical proportions for 16.
The answer there.
Answer there's one of the 2 daily doubles.
Uh, 3000.
3,000 this time in biblical proportions. In Acts, the shipmen deemed that they drew near to some country and sounded and founded 20 of this measurement. Chris?
What are hectares?
Everybody lost out on the daily
They sounded and
double.
founded 20 fathoms.
Wow.
Fathoms. Okay, the good news for you, no more daily doubles.
Thank God.
Make a selection.
Alright, let's go to that's old news for 800.
Several of the ancient wonders of the world, like the Colossus of Rhodes, were destroyed by this type of natural calamity. Matt,
Also,
what's
I
the
want.
earthquake?
Was it
Yes.
earthquake? Elementary for 2000.
This element, symbol V, used to strengthen titanium alloys, isn't found in pure form, but exists in about 5 dozen minerals. Chris,
Was vanadium.
good for 2000.
Let's go back to elementary for 800.
In 1985, Sir Harold Kroto and 2 U.S. chemists discovered a new molecular form of this element, the fullerene. Form of carbon.
One with
Chris?
carbon.
Let's
Okay.
wrap up elementary for 4.
Fe, the symbol for this element that does not begin with Fe, is taken from its Latin name. Chris,
Was iron.
right.
Let's go to 5-letter X words for 800.
It's the smallest element of an image on your computer monitor. Kelly,
What is a pixel?
right.
Supreme Court connection for 800.
Royal #1 hit in 1962 for Gene Chandler, and star of shampoo, blank blank Earl Warren blank. Kelly,
What is Duke of Earl Warren Beatty?
that's correct, yes.
The Supreme Court connection for 400.
Hours of Idleness poet, and Billy Idol song that begins, Hey little sister, what have you done? Blank Byron White blank. Chris,
Was Lord Byron White Wedding.
you're right.
Oh my gosh. That's old news for 400.
By the early 1200s, Genghis Khan and his Mongol horde were attacking northern China, taking this current capital city in 1215.
Also, I want. Was
Right,
Beijing?
5-letter X words.
By X was for
A
400.
political operative who handles PR crises, like Olivia Pope on Scandal.
I'll try one. Let's fix the Supreme Court connection for 2000.
Singer guitarist for Kiss and leader of Marvel's Fantastic Four, blank Stanley Reed blank. Chris.
Was Peter Stanley Reed Richards?
Sorry, no. Matt or Kelly? Matt.
What's Gene Stanley Reed Richards?
Also incorrect. I'm afraid. Kelly?
Was Pete Stanley Richards? Paul Stanley, okay. Biblical proportions for
Now, the
1200.
weight of gold that came to this wise king in 1 year was 603 score and 6 talents of gold. Chris?
Louis Solomon.
That's right. And, the last
And you know what? Matt will not be around for Final Jeopardy.
In Second Kings, it's 2 measures of barley for one of these. Matt.
What's a shekel?
It is a shekel, yes. That gets you so close, Matt, but I'm afraid you're still at negative 400 and will not be here for final. Congrats on your win yesterday. Chris and Kelly, you'll be playing today
We're
on this
vacant Jeopardy champions.
Stage and
movie characters.
Acquitted of shooting her lover in 1924, Beulah Annan was the inspiration for this character in a play, film, and musical. 30 seconds, players. Good luck.
Alright, let's see what everybody
Might be more
did.
familiar with the musical than the original play or film. Let's start with Chris Nichols and his $8,400. He wrote down
Annie?
That would be a very dark take on the animal Annie. Chris.
Annie, get your gun.
Annie, get your gun. That makes more sense.
Okay.
I'm afraid it's
No, not Annie.
You wagered
Everything, he
about
drops
what
to
you have
0.
Kelly Crew had the lead coming into final. Her response was
Roxy Hart?
Roxy Hart from Chicago, and that is
Yes.
correct. Well done. You wagered 36 to 1, bringing you to
And she is our new Jeopardy champion.